If you head to Roswell today, you'll find a city that has leaned entirely into its reputation as the most famous crash site on Earth. It is the destination for anyone fascinated by the idea of the ultimate government alien conspiracy. But to find the truth, we must look past the alien-themed gift shops, returning to the high desert as it looked in July of 1947. During that specific summer, the country was in the middle of a nationwide flying disc craze. Newspapers were filled with accounts of strange objects in the sky, and people everywhere were primed to spot something from another world. While the myth we know today is built on stories of extraterrestrial visitors, the real timeline began with a confusing mess in the dirt, one that triggered a military reaction so sudden and intense that it sparked a genuine panic. It started on a remote ranch near Corona, New Mexico. A rancher named Mac Brazel was out checking his land when he came across a trail of debris scattered across several acres. The materials he picked up were surprisingly ordinary. He found bundles of tinfoil, some smoky gray rubber strips, thick parchment paper, and a few thin wooden beams. If this wreckage was just a pile of common materials, it raises a question. Why did the military rush in, confiscate every scrap, and immediately place the entire incident under a veil of total secrecy? To understand that reaction, we have to look away from the desert and toward the global tension of the late 1940s. The Cold War was just beginning to take shape. At this time, the United States faced a massive strategic problem. They needed a way to find out if their rival, the Soviet Union, was secretly testing atomic bombs on the other side of the planet. The challenge was purely scientific. It is nearly impossible to detect a nuclear blast thousands of miles away without actually crossing into enemy territory, something the US couldn't risk doing. To close this intelligence gap, the military launched a classified operation called Project Mogul. Understanding how it worked is the key to seeing why a few scraps of foil in the desert suddenly became a state secret. Project Mogul used massive trains of linked balloons to float much higher than standard aircraft. Carrying sensitive acoustic equipment, they listened through specific layers of our atmosphere for the low-frequency rumble of a distant nuclear explosion. Because this was cutting-edge espionage technology, meant to track the world's most dangerous weapons, the project was kept under the highest levels of classification. Project Mogul was never intended for space exploration. It was effectively a giant floating microphone pointed directly at the Soviet Union. If we look back at the debris Mac Brazel found, the pieces fit perfectly. The rubber strips and durable paper were simply the remains of the massive balloons after they had burst and fallen to Earth. The tinfoil and wooden sticks Brazel collected were actually radar targets, kite-like structures attached to balloons so the military could track them. Those infamous alien hieroglyphics were just abstract pastel flowers printed on reinforced adhesive tape, sourced from a New York toy manufacturer. When these everyday materials were found mangled and out of context, it was easy for a paranoid public to see otherworldly technology where there was actually only makeshift spy gear. The event that started it all happened on June 4, 1947, when Project Mogul lost contact with an array called Flight Number 4. It drifted off course and crashed near Roswell. When the rancher reported the debris weeks later, local officers didn't have the security clearance to know about the secret spy program. They misidentified the wreckage and issued a press release claiming they had captured a flying disc. This caused immediate panic in the military's high command. Their top-secret nuclear detection program was suddenly making headlines around the world. The military's main concern was national security. They were desperate to hide their sensing technology from the Soviet Union, not hide an alien visitor from the American public. To contain the leak, they quickly retracted the flying disc story and replaced it with a highly mundane explanation. They told the press that the debris was just a standard weather balloon. It was a simple, boring story designed to end any further investigation into what the equipment was really doing. That weather balloon lie successfully protected Project Mogul for decades, but it also accidentally planted the seed for the world's most complex UFO conspiracy theories. The Roswell cover-up is real. The government did lie, and they did hide crash technology. But the truth they were protecting wasn't about visitors from another world. It was about the secret human efforts to monitor the dawn of the nuclear age.